On this episode of Bootstrappers, we're going to talk about how to have explosive growth in your entrepreneurial venture. We're going to speak with Michael Krause, who is a partner at Atrium Management Company in Orlando, Florida. He's experienced it, and we're going to ask him, how did you do it? That's on this episode of Bootstrappers.
This is the Bootstrappers Show for property management, powered by Anequim, a podcast where we have real conversations with industry experts that you can apply to your life and business.
Welcome to Bootstrappers, where we talk about topics that are important to real estate and property management entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Gwen Aspen, here with my spouse, Jeremy. That's me. We say something funny right there. Okay, in this episode, we're going to be speaking with Michael Krause about how to make your entrepreneurial venture go from small to crazy in size and crazy in what you're doing. I'm so inspired by Michael's story, and so we've got to talk about it on the show, of course.
Bootstrappers is powered by Anequim. If you're looking for professionals who can help you to grow your company and your business, go to anequim.net right now and set up a discovery call. If you set up a discovery call, get 50% off of your first placement fee by mentioning the Bootstrapper Show.
So on this show, I just want to preface this that Mike and I have been meeting at different conventions for years. And I'm always like, hey, so what are you reading? Like, what's going on? And I always feel like we always tell each other like the secret thing. And so a few years back, like 3 years ago, maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, so how's business going? And we have a relationship where I was like, he would really tell me the truth. It wouldn't just be like, oh, everything is great. I love everything. It's all puppies and unicorns over here. And he's like, it's great. Everything's going well, except I'm just not making enough money. And so as we were talking, getting ready for this show, I was learning all about his business and I'm like, holy crap. Well, things have changed a lot in just a few years. So with that, we want to welcome Michael Krause to the show. How are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
That's the story everybody in property management wants to live.
Because Michael, you went from 200 units 6 years ago, and now you're at 2,700 units?
Correct. Yep.
That's insane. So we want to dig in about how that happened and, really into the deeper part. Like, did your mindset change? Was it incremental?
What's your bank account number?
Well, tell us about how you were able to have such explosive growth in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to digging into it. So, you guys already introduced me but I'm Mike Krause. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I'm a partner at Atrium Management Company. So, and you're 100% correct. We did go from about 200 doors in January of 2015 to just under 2,700 or right around 2,700 doors right now. So I would say like the biggest thing that we did to experience that fast growth was really we got around people in the industry that knew what they were doing, and we listened to their advice. We didn't recreate anything. Me and my business partner Adam, neither one of us are super creative. We're both very kind of math oriented people, not super creative. So we've just copied other people's ideas and concepts along the way, and been blessed to have great people in our lives.
So when you were first starting and you just had the 200 units, did you have a big vision, or did the vision grow over time?
So I would say that we had a decent sized vision. I didn't necessarily have a big vision. I was more in the weeds on the operations when we first got started. So we would have, me and Adam, we would always eat pretty healthy. We'd have Chipotle like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
We'd be sitting there at lunch at Chipotle, and Adam would say, one of these days we're going to be at 1,000 doors. And I remember thinking to myself, like, no way. I can't even handle the 250 we're dealing with right now. I don't want another door. It was just so much to handle when I was big time in the weeds. But Adam always had this mentality of growth over everything. And if that phone would ring and it was, somebody who was looking for property management services, he would drop whatever he was doing and immediately leave the office. And it would would drive some of the team members nuts. We have Clary, who's an administrative employee on our team, and she would go nuts because we weren't around because Adam was out in the living rooms. And so I think early on, he kind of taught me that vision for, growth is one of the most important things. If you're not growing, you're dying. And you always live that. The phone calls, the sales calls were always the most important thing. Priority number one, no matter what, when they came in.
So, but you were on the operations side. So there's always that tension between sales and operations. So obviously your operations had to transform tremendously in 6 years. I mean, you can't go from 200 units to 2,700 without some serious processes and procedures and structural change. Can you tell us about how you did that?
Yeah, so for us, we started out departmental where pretty much everybody had their own set of tasks that they were doing. One person handled all the renewals, and one person handled all the work orders, and one person handled all the initial phone calls, and one person handled all the books. That started to break down, and it was kind of in like the 600 to 700 door range. It just stopped working. Owners were calling in. They were like, hey, who do I talk to? They would be like, I want to talk about a renewal, and we'd have to transfer them to one person. And they want to talk about their statement, we had to transfer to another person. And it just kind of broke down at that point for us. So we were looking for solutions, and we actually went out to visit Dodson Property Management. Duke was having his 10-year party. I went out there, and I got to interview a bunch of their team members and kind of see how their operations were. And they had broken things up into teams of 3. And most mom and pop property management companies run really well from like 200 to 300 doors with a team of 3 or 4. So that's how they had all of their portfolio structured. They basically had what we call an asset manager, which is like a senior property manager, a property manager who handles the maintenance, and then a property manager who handles the leasing. So we saw that structure and thought, man, this would be very nice if we had teams of 3. Because like I said, small companies, 200 to 300 doors, run really smoothly. They're very profitable. And they always seem to work really well in our industry. So we just kind of broke our teams up just like they did, just copied exactly what they had done for the most part. And it worked out really well. We've since added an ITM, what we call an ITM, what you all call VAs, international team member. We now have one of each. We have an international team member on each of our pods as well. And they run from kind of 200 to up to 450 doors in those small property groups. So
once you made that structural change, did that just transform your world and operations? Did you feel like you had the ability to scale quickly because you'd figured that out? Or was there something else structurally that had to change for you to get to where you are now?
So we picked up the pod structure, and then we kept hearing about this thing called traction. Heard about it from Matthew Whitaker. At the time, he was with GK Houses. Now they're called Evernest. Heard about it from a guy named Andy Moore, who's with Gold Coast Property Management, Gulf Coast Property Management, down in Sarasota, Bradenton.
Heck yeah.
I actually met him at the same conference I met you all in Vegas. But so Adam and I went down to visit Andy in Sarasota. I think it was like 2017, maybe the beginning of 2017, 18. Probably. And we wrote down a list of like 7 things. And it was like, go institute the pod structure, institute property meld, institute traction. And we wrote down like 7 or 8 things on this list. And we visited Andy, and Andy's like, oh, traction changed my life, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, we put that list away, totally forgot about it, went back at the end of the year, and we had done like 6 out of the 7 things. And one of those things was institute traction, and it absolutely changed our business.
It's
100%.
I would say that for us, that was the biggest transformation of our property management company. And then now just doing that right from the get-go at Anequim is just such a game changer, mostly because it forces you to prioritize your projects. So you're not like shiny object syndrome, like, oh, squirrel. We got to do this. And you have to prioritize and focus on accomplishing things. And you think you're going to get less done because you have fewer priorities, but you actually get more done because you actually get things done.
And we've interviewed quite a few people now on the show. Traction comes up all the time.
Matt's probably, our producer, Matt, is probably so sick of hearing about traction at this point because it's such a game changer. So you did it, you self-implemented, correct?
Yeah, we self-implemented. So it's funny, we wanted help. We called and asked Matthew Whitaker. We were like, hey, how do we get started with this? And he's like, just read the book. Mm-hmm. And then, so we read the book and we went back to him and we were like, hey, now what do we do to get started? He's like, read the book again. And so we were like, okay, we get it.
Didn't Whitaker hear about it from you?
I don't know. Maybe we heard about it at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we implemented it around the same time. And I did it the same way, or we did it the same way. It's like, save yourself $30K. Implement it.
Although we had
$14.99 by reading the book.
Couple weeks ago, we had interviewed the CEO of EOS. So he gives a good case for getting somebody on board to help out, because it's expensive, between $2,500 and $7,000 a day. But we've done it that way, and it works. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. I think there are issues, and I think this leads to another question. I think you need an implementer if you struggle with your leadership team or if you have a major cultural issue with your company. So one of my questions for you is, from going from 200 units to almost 3,000, have you had to make some significant personnel changes? Were the people that helped you at the beginning not the people who are going to get you to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we made a music video. Our goal is $24,000, and so we remade the Bruno Mars music video, 24 Karat Magic.
Are you going to link it? Can we link it in the show notes? Is it on YouTube?
No, it's internal.
That's it.
I'll show you on my phone.
All right.
So I think it's just me and Adam left from the leadership team that initially set up our first VTO. I mean, that's not something that I ever expected or wanted, or
of course
I would have said that I was excited about. But I will say that I've never been more excited with our current leadership team than I am today. We just had our kind of first quarter offsite where we did a retreat, and we spent 2 days together planning and making sure the year was all set up and our VTO was set up for our one year plan and our 3-year picture and all that kind of stuff. And I've never been more excited with our team we have right now.
But I honestly, though, I think that being able to make those hard choices is what separates those who have true growth from those who don't. Because I'm sure that was heart-wrenching at certain times. Those leadership changes, how bad was it?
To be honest, most of those people decided that they were moving on. For various reasons. Some people people started their own business. One person moved home to live with a family member and take care of a family member. Other people just felt like they needed a change. There's definitely not anything that I can pinpoint that was, and we didn't fire any of those people specifically. Of course, we've made hard personnel decisions over the years. That's just a given. As a leader and as a growing organization, you're going to have to make those tough decisions. But in those cases, in fairness, they just kind of moved on.
Oh, well,
one of them was part of the great resignation or the great migration, whatever you want to call it, after COVID. So we did lose quite a bit of our leadership team kind of after that to different various things. One person started a company, it is what it is.
So it wasn't ever that you just had, because I think when you have the structure of traction and you really start having accountability, sometimes people don't like it. They're like, this has changed. And you're like, yes, it has. And we're happy about it. And if you don't like it, there is a door right here. I mean, did you think that having higher standards for your team and yourself and more accountability as you grew and became more sophisticated caused some people to leave over time?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, pressure turned up. like you said, the results are much clearer when you're using traction. So definitely some people just kind of weeded themselves out. It also makes it easier on the front, using the scorecard and make everybody having their own number, makes it easier to tell if somebody's not going to work out. So, we've definitely had some hires that didn't work out. You got to see that sooner.
Yeah. Like with the KPIs, you go through the KPI section of Traction and it's like, hey, look at all these red numbers.
Right. How come you're not getting leases?
These are supposed to be black numbers. These red ones aren't working for you. So which, out of curiosity, just to help anybody that's listening, what software do you use for your operating system, financial system, and Traction?
Yeah, so we use AppFolio for our property management software. We use Tenant Turner for leasing, Property Meld for work orders, and we use Lead Simple for our CRM. So all three of those I would highly recommend. I can't imagine going back to single family management without Property Meld. Just wouldn't want to do it. Tenant Turner's been great to us for years. We're very happy with their services and think it works really well. We also use Easy Repair Hotline. Andy Shen over there runs a great company, and they have been tremendous at kind of giving us peace of mind back, so we don't have to be on call 24/7. Them coupled with Property Meld have been a great pair. AppFolio has done a good job for us. I'm not an AppFolio hater. I was actually on their customer panel for their sales team for their kickoff meeting that they had for all their salespeople this year, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like they're making some really positive changes this year. They're working on integrations. Property Meld actually now has an integration with them. Yeah, so they've turned a corner. The words open API are no longer a cuss word. So they've turned a corner. I'm kind of excited to see it.
I was wondering when they'd do that. That took forever for them to do that.
So technology, is that one of your strengths?
I wouldn't say it's a strength. I don't think it's a weakness either. We're just kind of middle of the road on technology. Our business has been built on relationships. That's where we excel. We don't necessarily excel in technology, but we don't let ourselves get behind either. We've talked about it recently. We want to be on the cutting edge, so we want to push for that a little more. And we've recently hired a gentleman who's our marketing director, is very tech savvy. So I think we'll be able to push the envelope a little more in the future than we have in the past.
So do you have any big investors? I mean, have you gone after some big investors for some of the growth, or is it, how has the growth come in?
So big investors in terms of like buying property management companies, no. Big investors in terms of owning houses, not really. We have had some bigger property. We do multifamily and we do boutique multifamily. So boutique is for us anything that doesn't have on-site management, and then traditional multifamily would have on-site management.
Yeah.
Our largest owner has 600 multifamily doors, and we're our second largest owner. Myself and my business partner Adam have a little bit over 500 doors that we own, all in that boutique multifamily space, one traditional multifamily. We've syndicated most of that, meaning we've raised money from other people to buy those, and so. It's not all our money. I'm definitely not rich by any stretch of the imagination. But there's definitely ways to be able to grow more rapidly through that boutique multifamily space.
Okay. And so getting into that marketing, your business partner, Adam Wanis, he was in the 40 under 40 list. Is that right? In your local business?
We both were.
Oh, you both were. Sorry. Gosh, I'm not giving you credit where credit's due. So, I mean, has that local marketing really helped you grow more quickly? I mean, is that an area you would tell other people or advise other people to look into? Just local marketing or media?
So, absolutely. The word of mouth is going to be your best in advertising. I mean, you can spend we did the math on it, and at one point it was like $1,000 to get a Google. I forget what it was, but it basically broke down to every $2,000 we spent on Google AdWords, we were going to get like one contract, one single family house, right? I mean, that's not a great return on investment. Now, if you could buy a $2,000 contract, there's a lot of people out there that are buying contracts for more money than $2,000, right? Buying these companies, they're rolling up, and a lot of times they're paying more than $2,000. But that is a major hustle to turn $2,000 worth of Google ads into one contract. We have always taken the approach of building relationships. And if you went and spent $2,000 on gifts for realtors who can send you referrals, what do you think would turn out better? So like this week, a guy on our team that sent a signed Matt Ryan football to an Atlanta fan. He had, last week we had a jersey with the name of the property owner put on the back of it. We spent, I'm embarrassed to say it. I'm not even going to say the number. We spent thousands of dollars taking brokers golfing at StreamSong to, build that relationship. And those returns are so much better than you're ever going to get on Google AdWords. We've spent years building relationships in Orlando. And the Orlando Business Journal really is and most big cities have business journals, a great place for you to network, go to events, and meet people that are like-minded and, build those referral bases up. So I think you're talking about Adam was a part of 40 under 40 class. And I want to say it was 2018, or it was either 17 or 18, a few years before me. I got it on my 39th year on this earth here.
Nice.
So I barely snuck in. But yeah, he ended up meeting a guy there that ultimately we're going to end up managing about 1,500 single family homes for.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they were part of the same, 40 under 40 class. So and the value in that is just, it's priceless. Like you can get referrals for 10 years from building a relationship versus, paying for Google AdWords and just, one time you get a pop. If you get lucky, and you have to hustle like crazy to just get that one. So Orlando Business Journal is big for us. Networking events in general are big for us. We started tracking how many networking events. It's one of our KPIs that we do. And we have done thousands of them as a team. We had one person did 6 networking events last week, our BDM. I mean, how cool is that? We got 50 people on the team all doing networking events. If they just all go to one a week, that's 2,500 a year. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's awesome. And I think people, forgot about networking with the pandemic. I know you guys didn't have a pandemic in Florida, but I'm just kidding. But a lot of the networking stuff was canceled in other places. And so it's a good reminder, get out there, say hello to local people, and remember that networking is still a thing.
Right.
And
vote DeSantis in 2024.
Cut that out. That's just kidding.
So, but you're also into that built to rent space, correct? Are you in that right now, the built to rent?
Yeah.
So have you had to get some investors for that project as well? Was that through networking?
Yeah. We've built up a base of a base of investors over the years through doing other deals. Adam actually started out building townhomes and kind of the Milk District. It's a little district outside of downtown. And we then moved to buying smaller boutique apartment communities and made money for investors there. And as you basically kind of build up the rent roll, rehab the apartments, get the rent roll up, and then refinance. A lot of times we've been able to get the investors' money back out of the deal through refinancing, so they get their investment back. And they still own equity in the deal. So, who doesn't want to be a part of that, right? You invest $100,000 with us, 2 years later, you get that $100,000 back, and you still own a portion of that property for the rest of the time that we hold it, and you're just getting mailbox money. I mean, we have been trying to find deals for investors that have been basically banging on the door saying, hey, we want to give you money. And we're like, we're sorry, it's a very competitive market out there. We're not going to overpay for, properties. So that we're just not buying anything right now. Build to rent has opened up a market where, we can actually make sense of the numbers in those tertiary kind of further out areas where you can get bigger plots of land. We're super excited about it. And we've got some great partners in that business. And, we expect to be managing about 400 of those by the fourth quarter of this year.
Oh, cool.
That are all brand new Class A construction.
Well, if you're looking for investors, call me.
So, do you have any words of wisdom if someone wants to get in that space? Is there something that you didn't know at the front end that you wish you had known when you started getting into built to rent?
That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of people out there trying to do it. Very few people who have done it successfully. Get around people who have already done it. There's a community, Apopka, that I went and visited last week, and they're just killing it. So I went and saw how they did it, and we're going to change the type of grass we installed because of that site visit. I'm going to IMN Nashville to their single family build to rent conference in the middle of next week. There's a ton of people there who are a wealth of knowledge. If you're looking to get started, I like I said at the beginning of this, I don't come up with creative ideas. I just get around people who've already done it and then ask them questions. And then when they give you advice, if you take that advice and then you remember to thank them once you've applied it, first of all, if you actually apply it, they're going to be thankful. And then if you tell them you applied it and you succeeded, man, they're going to want to help you again. It's so crazy how that's cyclical, but it totally works. So thank your mentors and thank the people that give you advice. It'll help out long term.
And you're taking applications. Are you taking applications for mentoring? Because if so, we'll just put your cell phone number right down here. Okay.
No, I think that's good. You do give back a lot, and it's not like you give back to the community, and you've been helpful to others, and you kind of have that reciprocity thing going, and so
yeah. I don't think I've ever turned anybody down who asked for help. So if you want to put my information on,
I'm not gonna do that to you, but
I put my LinkedIn profile on there, which is fine. But and Gwen, I think we taltalked about this.
You guys do a lot of talking.
Well, we go to a lot of conferences.
What the hell's going on here?
Shut up. Go ahead, Mike.
So anytime I get a book recommendation, I put the person's name on the books like that recommended it. So Dane Basham recommended that one to me. Andy Props recommended that one to me. So I don't forget to thank them for that recommendation, and we could have a conversation about it. Gwen, I think I spent Jeremy, yes. Last time Gwen and I think I saw you in Kansas City, but the last time before that was Arizona. And I think I spent $50 on books just talking to Gwen. I'm not even kidding you.
But they were good, right?
Yeah.
And I did want to get into a little bit more work-life balance because you have 3 little kids, right?
Yeah, I do. I have a 7, a 5, and a 3-year-old.
So how do you manage this explosive growth with your personal life and your family life?
So everybody has the same amount of time of the day, obviously. I used to think I was really busy. I used to make excuses for not working out. At the end of 2019, I actually started running again. I had taken 20 years off since high school.
Wow.
And I started running again. I found out that I have more time than I think. Having kids has actually forced me to be more productive. To be honest, I don't watch any TV.
We don't even have a working TV in our house, so we totally understand.
And that's something we've said it before on the show. I mean, that seems to be a very constant. That seems to be a constant whenever we ask people that are having success.
Almost nobody watches TV.
Nobody watches TV.
So I won't lie. There are a few shows that I stream. When I have a Saturday night where I don't have work to do for something, and I'll watch an episode of Yellowstone, stream it. I watched the show Billions. Ted Lasso was another one that was really good.
That was awesome. Ted Lasso was awesome.
Right, but these are streaming, and it's I'm choosing that over sleep right? And it's not like during the day. It's not from 5 to 9.
Right.
It goes. My schedule goes like 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning till like get out of work at 6 or 6:30. Get home, spend a couple hours with the kids, put the kids down, start working again until 9 or till like 10, 11, 12, sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning. And if I decide that I need to relax for a half hour at the end of the day, I do. And I typically run or work out at night. So for me, a lot of times when I'm running and working out, I'm reading books. So I very seldomly sit down and read a book. I just listen to them on the audiobooks while I'm running. And my business partner, Adam, taught me that. At first I was like, no, man, I got to listen to music. I got to feel the rhythm. Mm-hmm. And then I got addicted to the learning. And it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You just feel so full when you're, gaining knowledge while actually physically getting better. It's amazing. It's definitely a life hack for how to get those workouts in and learn.
Mine is I work out. I only allow myself to watch TV, or more to the point, I'll probably only have enough time to watch TV when I'm working out. And working out, if I get a really good show like Ted Lasso, I work my ass off. And it's great. So I just always look for good shows because, if I'm going to spend 45 minutes or an hour and a half working out, I like to watch them. They're fun. Yeah. Yellowstone's one I don't even know how we'd get it, but I want to watch that. I hear so much about it.
So
it's a good one.
So do you have any parting advice for any ambitious people who want to grow their company, and maybe they're like you a few years back where they feel like they're not making enough money, and advice on what they could do in order to get where they want to be?
I would just say, we just fully believe in investing in people. Like we joked around about not making money. The reason is because we wanted to be poised for growth. We've always wanted to have enough people that we could grow into the business. We've recently added another layer of leadership so that I can try to focus on expanding the business, and my business partner can try to focus on, developing property and growing the door count that way. So we've invested in people, and we really care about those people. We have a culture at our company that it's not good enough just to come to work and do a good job. Like, you've got to be growing personally. You've got to be reading books. You've got to be working out. You've got to be growing in all facets of your own life. If you believe in our core values and what, Traction really set up for us and taught us, hey, this is what we stand for. So I just feel like you got to invest in people before your business is ever going to grow. And the same thing goes with like investing in relationships and being out there networking. That's solely how we've built our business. And you've got to go out there. You've got to be memorable. I've been telling everybody another thing that I learned from my business partner, Adam, and I don't know where he got it from, but I think I told you about this, Gwen. But each time I add a contact in my phone now, I am adding information about them. Mm-hmm. So basically, right underneath the name, mm-hmm. I'm adding their wife's name, their kid's name, sometimes their daughter's name. So when they call, I can remember something about them, right? I'm like, hey, how's Laura doing? How's Brooks doing? And that way they know you care about them. Because honestly, if you're having conversations with people, you do care about them.
Absolutely.
It's not your intention to forget that person's name, but you're going to meet 10 people that day. And you're going to forget their name. You're going to forget their wife's name. It's just inevitable. But if you're intentional about it, it changes the game. And so for me, I moved into a new neighborhood in June, and I've met so many new people. And the number of people who are like, "How the heck do you remember my dog's name?" Yeah, it's fun. It's a good little life hack.
I love that. That's a great fantastic. One. That's a great way. That's a great way to wrap it up. Well, we are so grateful to have you on the show, Mike. This has been such a pleasure.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Bootstrappers is powered by Anequim. If you're looking for professionals who can help you grow your business, go to anequim.net right now and set up a discovery call. If you set up a discovery call, get 50% off your first placement fee by mentioning the Bootstrapper Show. Thanks again, Mike. We really appreciate it.
This is the Bootstrapper Show for Property Management, powered by Anequim, a podcast where we have real conversations with industry experts that you can apply to your life and business.